Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Administration for Children and Families and the Ad Council.
When it comes to making plans, you are the best. What about those round trips, which are perfect on your way there and perfect on your way back? Or those meetings with friends, surprise parties, camps, birthdays. The same way you plan for the important moments, start planning to protect you and your loved ones from a natural disaster. Sign up for local weather and emergency alerts. Prepare an emergency kit and make a family communications plan. Get started at ready.gov/plan.
Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Our lives only have so much time. But if you smoke, you have less. Your life could be 10 years shorter. And the time you do have is often filled with health problems. Shortness of breath, asthma, COPD, and cancer. But the minute you quit, your body starts healing.
Call the Nebraska Tobacco Quit Line, 1-800-QUIT-NOW, 1-800-784-8669. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Hey, it's me, your cell phone. We need to talk about something. Something serious. I know you love me. I know you like using me wherever you are, but I feel like this isn't working out when you're driving. I know you may think that it's possible to focus both on me and the road, but I just don't feel the same way. I think we should spend time away from each other when you're driving. It's for the best.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
If you're a veteran or know a veteran who's having thoughts of suicide or experiencing a mental health or substance use crisis, the Veterans Crisis Line provides direct connection to free, confidential, and compassionate support. Dial 988, then press 1, and you'll be connected to a trained crisis counselor who will listen, provide support, and connect you to additional resources if needed. Thank you for your service. We owe you our support. Dial 988, then press 1. Sponsored by the Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
I wanted to quit for so long, but I didn't know where to start.
I was afraid of what people would think, but then I found the right support to start my recovery journey. 1 in 14 Americans reports experiencing a substance use disorder, a treatable medical condition. Treatment can take many forms, so there are a variety of options to explore and find the one that works best for you. Recovery from drug addiction is possible.
Paid for by the CDC, sponsored by Nebraska DHHS, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Hey, it's me, your cell phone. We need to talk about something. Something serious. I know you love me. I know you like using me wherever you are, but I feel like this isn't working out when you're driving. I know you may think that it's possible to focus both on me and the road, but I just don't feel the same way. I think we should spend time away from each other when you're driving. It's for the best.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it twice a day.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it in the morning and before dinner.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it, and share it with my doctor. Nearly 1 in 2 U.S. adults have high blood pressure. That's why it's important to self-monitor your blood pressure in 4 easy-to-remember steps. It starts with a monitor.
Now that I know my blood pressure numbers, I talked with my doctor. We're getting those numbers down.
Get it, slip it, cuff it, check it, talk to doctor now and share it.
Be next to talk to your doctor about your blood pressure numbers. Get down with your blood pressure. Self-monitoring is power. Learn more at manageyourbp.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council, the American Heart Association, and the American Medical Association, in partnership with the Office of Minority Health and Health Resources and Services Administration.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. The home of Kansas City Royals baseball. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. Welcome into The Breeze with DP and Haas on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back into Ticket Weekends. I am Harrison Arns running the board. We got the host, Haas, as always. No DP today, as he's got some other business to attend to, but no worries. Me and Haas will fill the hour. And again, you guys want to join the show, Sorry Heyman text line 402-464-5685, as well as we're streaming on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and Allo channel 951. Quick programmer's note, we are not live at the Aero Show today. Restrictions going remote. The Wi-Fi service was cutting out on us. So in order to give a better product, we opted to call an audible, and we're in studio today to give you guys a better product. So again, there still might be some ticket gear out there. We still have the tent up, but for shows, all in studio today. So again, quick programmer's note there. But Haas will bring you in. How's it going, man?
Is DP out in Minnesota? You don't need to say what he's doing, but is he out in Minnesota intimidating their fans? Is he building another studio? Is he preparing for a third TED Talk? Like,
I think he's getting the ticket 2.0 ready. I think he's building another one in DC. So
got it. That sounds about right.
Yeah, if all those who have had the privilege of getting to know DP in the short time he's been in Nebraska so far, I probably understood that guy's running around making deals 24/7. So it's all good things, right? You want good business in Lincoln. That's DP in a nutshell for you. So again, no DP today, but as always, he's off doing more important things. So again, just give DP the trust. He's pretty much built this station. Continue to trust him. But yeah, we got an hour here, Haas. I was be honest, I'm so locked in on football. It's right around the corner. I got the Husker football depth chart in front of me. I got Minnesota's scouting reports, but we're not going to go there, right? I'm going to bite my tongue because we got a few more days yet. Where do you want to go? We got a full hour.
Talking football, are you talking about the is it 11 goals and 7 assists for Messi in 6 games? I think that's what he has.
Yeah, we could talk about the greatest soccer player of all time too. If you want to talk about the impact, it's kind of, how do you feel about that? Because I see that and I watch Messi and I'm like, we are so far away. That's what I get out of it.
Not sure how many fans follow soccer, and we won't spend that much time on it, but it's to have 18 goals contributed in 6 games is the equivalent of 50-point triple doubles, 50 points, 20 rebounds, 20 assists. Probably I'd probably put it there. And from a football perspective, it would be like a running back rushing for 280 yards and 4 touchdowns and catching 1 touchdown and receiving another 100, or a quarterback throwing for 500 yards for 6 straight games with 5 touchdowns. Like, that is unheard of.
Yeah, so, the way I see it, so the level of play of Messi is so high, even though he's at the later point of his career. And the MLS, and I'm a Sporting Kansas City fan. I've actually gone. I enjoy watching the Sporting Kansas City. Not super diehard, but I'll definitely go and I enjoy the product. But you still get a sense of how far away we are. What Messi is doing right now is what the level is of like LeBron going over to play pro in Thailand or the Philippines. Like, that's what we're seeing. And the only problem is that the U.S. has had the MLS and all this funding and this foundation to get the soccer program up and running. And this is still kind of the product. At least if, LeBron went over to Thailand, you could understand why the basketball team might not be so good. Here in the U.S., is it just an athlete thing where all our best athletes don't play soccer? Like, I have a hard time pinning this down. There's no reason the U.S. should be this far behind. You could say we could be far behind, but to be as far back as we are, it always kind of puzzles me. Is it an athlete problem?
I mean, this is the first time we've talked about soccer on our show, and it's been.
It's probably the first time I've talked about it on the on the airwaves. I'll be honest.
So it's number 4, number 5, number 6 on the list for fans. Number 7. So NFL, NBA, MLB, hockey, NASCAR, tennis.
Yeah.
Pool.
You probably throw a pickleball up in there these days.
Pickleball, yeah. All those things, wrestling, all those things are ahead of soccer in America. But it's number 1 everywhere else. So hopefully Messi coming over and because of Messi, the fields that did you catch this a couple of weeks ago or a month ago that Messi will not play on turf? He understands how that impacts his health and he wants to prolong his career, so he won't play on turf. So and this isn't being a diva. This is not being a diva. He understands that he could tear his ACL or mess up his Achilles with his age, that he's just going to take that game off. Well, the owners have an obligation to the fans then to change the turf to grass, which Bosa 3 years ago, torn ACL. Anytime you go to the Jets stadiums or the Giants stadiums, someone tears their ACL. So it's pretty cool that they value Messi that much, And in the NFL, you're just player number 100,842. We don't give a crap.
Yeah, I'm with you there. The turf fields. I was kind of surprised. I had to do a little bit of research to see like, okay, how is he kind of being a drama queen, like you said? Like I didn't know for sure. But you do look at it. Yeah, turf fields are just worse. Statistically, you're more likely to get injured. So again, I kind of like having a player of his prowess making these billionaires go ahead and just install real grass. You got the money to do it. There's no reason for it other than you just want to save on maintenance fees. Maybe it's easier to set up concerts when you're not playing games to have turf. But all that little stuff goes aside. If you want a really good team, winning team, just get real grass. Take care of your players. Get rid of the injuries. And it's kind of cool to see Messi, a player of his power, his prowess, use that leverage against him. But, as far as that goes, I think that's honestly all I got about Messi. He's just that much better. Europe's that much better at soccer, and it's showing. You said it yourself, he's pretty much accountable for all of their points, all of their goals. Do we expect anything else? I really don't think so. I think this is the Messi we were kind of expecting to see. The other guys being so far behind is a little surprising, but nonetheless, that's about where I'm at on Messi.
Yeah, I mean, he looks like how I do at soccer practice. I coach U11 soccer, U10 soccer, and U8 soccer, and the way I just take on 3 or 4 little kids, that's how he looks. Like he takes on 3 defenders and they still can't guard him. But it brings an interesting point. That NFL has a couple issues. They don't treat the running backs well. But then the turf issue, it's been going on for a while, and every time I watch the 49ers play in a turf field, there's someone with a season-ending injury. So that's where that comes from. And I understand injuries are part of the game, but if you can decrease the likelihood of a season-ending injury, a major one, an Achilles, an ACL, then why wouldn't you do it? So hopefully maybe a Pat Mahomes or someone of that caliber would be like, I'm not playing in that stadium, so do something about it.
Do you think that's actually possible to happen in the NFL with the way the schedule, how short it is already? Do you think we'll ever see a superstar willing to actually put the owners up to pressure?
If Messi can do it, Mahomes can do it.
That'd be interesting. Do you think Mahomes would be the one? Do you think a guy like Josh Allen could do it?
No, it has to be Mahomes.
I would be okay with that. I'd be okay. I'd be a little nervous about how the owners would handle it. I don't know if they'd get the exact quick resolve. But if it's Patrick Mahomes, maybe. I don't actually ever see that happening in the NFL. I just don't know if these guys would ever be willing to risk that.
The problem
That's a lot
is
of money.
The only position you listen to is the quarterback. So it needs to be like a somewhat of a strike. And
okay.
If I'm the Jets Giants owner, I'm like, fine, don't play, like whatever. So it isn't going to be simple, but it is something that will have to take a position like the quarterback, who doesn't get impacted that much by it, to stand up for their players.
Yeah, you're right there. If it's Jonathan Taylor, nobody's listening, right? It's got to be a quarterback, and it's got to be an elite level quarterback like Patrick Mahomes. We talked about it, but the running back issue, obviously Barkley eventually got paid, but do you feel like that issue is actually getting any resolve, or is it just kind of getting swept under the rug again until next season?
Woo, Josh Jacobs, $11 million. Like, what?
Swept under the rug.
Wow. Let's celebrate him getting $11 million. That's just crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so bad that maybe number 2, number 3, definitely top 4 running back just got $11 million, and it's not like he's 35.
Is there any real resolve for this? Like, have you thought in your head, is there a way to make it financially incentive for these owners to keep running backs? Because it's easy to say all these owners are just terrible people and they don't want to pay their running backs. It's also another thing to be, these guys are just being smart, and that is the market value. They're just being realistic about the market value of these running backs. And with the way the caps are balanced on most of these teams, you might be an idiot if you spend all your money on the running back knowing you can get one for cheaper. So is there an actual way to resolve this issue with the owners? Because right now, yeah, maybe it's not fair, but they would be pretty dumb to pay an outlandish bag for a running back when they don't have to.
That's obviously the conundrum, where if an option the second best running back wasn't available with the 35th pick. that was not the case before. The second best running back was taken number 7 or 8, like 7 years ago. So you could just bring in a shinier toy and just keep that contract on the first contract. And then if it's in the second round, it's not that lucrative. So you really do get to control. And then have your quarterback paid, have your left tackle paid, have your D-line paid.
You'd almost have to, the way I see it, you'd almost have to set it up as to work with the contracts. Like you'd have to make it accolade based, right? So there's some contracts out there where if you have your running back, he's going to be 1,200 yard running back, right? And if he hits that mark, anything after that should not be added to your salary cap because you're guaranteed. You know what? I'm going to put a pin on that because I got this on paper. I'm going to pull up my Google Doc sheet so we can actually get it lined up because there is a plausible way to actually patch up this running back room. And I want to save it for the next segment just so I don't butch my own words there. But again, there is some definitely ways to move those contracts around, but it is the problem. The only way it gets fixed is if they find a way to add some asterisks to some of these running back contracts. Because there's no way right now that any of these guys are going to get paid the money they deserve. It's just not. You're not going to have an owner that's going to tank his team for the greater good. No owner is going to make a sacrifice for a couple running backs. They're going to put their own organization first. So it's going to have to be something with the NFL where they rework the contracts because you can't expect an owner out of the good of their heart to sacrifice their organization for a couple running backs. That's just where I'm at on it.
It'll just be cyclical. Like you have a $15 million tight end who's underperforming compared to your $8 million running back. And so that it'll have to become cyclical. And when the second or third best player on your team is a running back and he's making the 40th best salary or 30th best salary, then that's where it will be changed. So we'll see. What are your thoughts on Trey Lance going to Dallas?
Yeah, good move. When was the last time Trey Lance has played? If you're the 49ers, the clock's ticking on him. You want to obviously get him some reps, but Brock Purdy won out in the regular season. He had the highest QB rating out of those last 7 games in the regular season. He's not better than Patrick Mahomes, but for that short period of time, he did have a higher passing rating. I can find numbers where I can probably show Patrick Mahomes was far and better than Brock Purdy's highest QBR. But for a short stint in the season, Brock Purdy was the best quarterback. For whatever small sample size that was, there's some proof to it. So you take Trey Lance. What are you going to do with it? You're going to have to move on eventually. You have a guy in Brock Purdy. You have no reason not to put him ahead of Trey Lance. He's getting older. It's been forever since he's played real snaps in a game.
Yeah, he's still really young.
How old is he now?
Probably 23.
Okay, he's 23 years old. Not that old. But again, the snaps. When was the last snaps he's played? It's just get him acclimated, ready to go. Yeah, he's gotten hurt many times.
His ankle week 2 last
Mm-hmm.
year.
So again, it's just a guy that has been healthy, is lacking reps. He might be 23 right now, but again, the amount of reps he's had puts him at like 19. If you're being serious, like
Correct.
You have to move on from him really quick. If, in my opinion, I think you send him to Dallas. Dallas is being smart. Let's have a backup. We don't know what this is going to look like. I think that's what their headset is. We don't know what Trey Lance is, but if we can tap into that potential on why the 49ers got him in the first place, we might have some answers if we look to the bench and Prescott is just having an abysmal year, which some people are predicting. I think it's a good move. I thought they had to get rid of him. I didn't have any problems with it. Were you surprised at all?
No. So I would compare this to relationships. So once you found the one in relationships, so once you found the one, whether this is the right girl or guy, depending on your sex or what your preference is. If you found the one, then you don't keep the phone number of previous people. You don't keep them around. You get rid of them. And so the Niners found their one. So that's why
Okay.
Jimmy G. See you later.
Let me hold you to that. What made him their one?
The way he played when he played a full game and when he came in the Dolphins game. So for 8 games, he played at least 3 quarters, and he dominated.
So it wasn't the NFC title game. It was the way he looked in those
How
games.
could the NFC title game was 2 throws? So that doesn't count.
Okay.
How are you going to evaluate? You don't evaluate someone who shouldn't be. Like, that's not fair. He couldn't throw a ball. So he was there because they had to snap the ball. The NFC
Well, that's because he got him to the NFC title game. Because Jimmy G got you to a couple and then the Super Bowl on top of it. So I'm just trying to figure out, moving on from Jimmy G, that he's not the guy, despite a Super Bowl appearance and 2 NFC title games, to Brock Purdy. Yeah, obviously couldn't throw, but he still got you there, and he looked really good up until that point. So that's enough to say he's the guy, and just be totally okay knowing that we're in a better spot now with him on the roster, getting rid of Jimmy G.
So here's my point for Purdy, and we won't spend too much time on him in the show. If Jimmy G took you to a Super Bowl and a couple NFC Championship games, then some people look at that as a good resume. If you traded 3 first-round picks and a third or fourth for Trey Lance, that's also a valuable thing. So if both of those things were just shoved away and gotten rid of and thrown away, you don't just do that unless you know you have the one. You delete those phone numbers, you're done with them, don't want to talk to them. I got the one, that's all I'm focusing on. And that's what the 49ers did. And it takes a lot of guts to do that, because you're going to constantly hear worst trade of all time, Trey Lance, who no longer is with the team for these 3 picks. You're going to hear that all the time. And if the Niners don't go to the Super Bowl this year, then Lynch is on the hot seat. Shanahan's on the hot seat. If the Niners don't do well next year, they might be fired. So Brock Purdy really has to perform for their job security.
Yeah, and I'm trying to poke holes in it, but I actually do kind of feel good about Brock Purdy. I don't have a reason to really doubt him going into the season. Seahawks, I'm rooting for them to win the division, but if you're being serious and you look at the roster and you look at the skill, it's hard to look at the 49ers and say they're not the favorite, right? Even if you have, I'd give you guys, trying to think of a core, I'd probably give you guys Deshaun Watson, and I'm still looking at you guys to win the division. Think of another core. I'd give you guys Stafford, and he's still the favorite to win the division. Probably the lowest I go is Danny Dimes, and even then I'd probably still have you guys winning the division. So again, it's up to Brock Purdy. Don't turn it over. Stay healthy. And again, just perform anything like he did last year, even 90% of what he was last year to end the season. And that's a pretty damn good quarterback. We do have a phone call. Want to plug them in here real quick. Lost them. Never mind. If you want to call back in, don't hang up right away. We'll get you in as we're talking. 402-464-5685. Just missed your phone call, but if you want to get that in there, again, 402-464-5685. So you think that for the 49ers to have a successful season, did you say Super Bowl or did you just say playoffs, NFC title? What to use a successful season?
They have to win the Super Bowl. We've talked about that 3 weeks in a row. They have to win the Super Bowl. They have too much talent. The Trey Lance trade, what it did is it freed up money for this year and next year, which allows you to get Bosa in there. So Nick Bosa, Defense Player of the Year, top 3, top 4 player in the NFL. He still hasn't played a snap in the preseason for the 49ers. He still hasn't. He held out. He hasn't showed up. So when you free up that money by trading away Trey Lance, now there's really in the next hour or two you're gonna see a report. Nick Bosa back in 49ers camp. That's what's going to happen. So, yeah, it did multiple things. The bigger thing it did is it made the 49ers roster complete, because, you can go and say Sam Darnold is a number 3 overall pick, because he was, and he is now a veteran. He has the arm. He is accurate. And just say that's someone else's mistake that we're going to capitalize on. Trey Lance might be a very strong quarterback in 5 years for someone else, but you can't harp on that. So now, because the Niners trust Brendan Allen, Sam Darnold, Brock Purdy doesn't have to look over his shoulder the way Jimmy G had to look over his shoulder all the time. So all those things matter. It's showing I really have confidence in you. So
yeah,
good move for the 49ers, even though they got made fun of and there's things out there. Explain this to a kindergartner. Well, it's if you have something 90% off, then you do it. Okay, fine. Yeah, whatever. Doesn't matter. Pittsburgh, September 9th, 1 o'clock Eastern. That's what matters.
Absolutely. Yeah, and again, I kind of with you there. I didn't understand a lot of the backlash on that. It felt like a move that, why wouldn't you make it? If you're the 49ers, you said to yourself, you look around the roster, if you're thinking now isn't the time to make a run, what the hell are you doing? It doesn't get much better. You look at that roster, for you to think and piece it together, if we, maybe if we hold on here, it's like, no, you guys are ready to make a move. It's kind of my whole philosophy with the Bears, although I'm not thinking Super Bowl. I'm thinking you got talent, start winning games. There's no reason at this point to continue to wait for pieces to fall into your hand. It's like you got the players you have. Now it's the time to start making the push. With that being said, we got to go up to our first break here. But have we ranked what we consider our top 5 running backs going into the NFL season yet?
We have not. You want to do that?
Let's do that. Yeah, I absolutely want to do that because I did this with Raph, and he left the guy off the list, and I couldn't believe it, to be honest. To me, he's the number 1 or number 2 running back in the league, but we'll get to that all on the next segment. Again, this is The Breeze. I'm Harrison. That's Haas streaming in. We got a full 45 minutes left on this show. Starter Heyman text line 402-464-5685. Streaming on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Allo channel 951. We'll catch you guys on the other side.
You've worked hard all year, sweating, building, providing. Labor Day is your day. Schaefer's celebrates you this Labor Day. To show our appreciation, Schaefer's has lowered the prices on Maytag and KitchenAid appliances. Save on energy-efficient refrigerators or Maytag laundry pairs, and reward yourself with interest-free financing. Schaefer's, local and family-owned since 1946.
Are you working in or looking to get into the electrical construction industry? The electrical workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeymen and apprentices and are offering great pay and benefits. Call Mike at 402-875-1034 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
To Limitless Mail.
I would tell them to go to Limitless today. Don't hesitate. You're going to second guess yourself on if it's the right decision. The staff there is amazing. The treatments work. I'm living proof that it can completely change your life for the better.
Join thousands of men who have changed their lives with testosterone treatment. Slow down the aging process and live life. Schedule your free consult at limitlessmail.com.
This is where it happens. Long hikes with friends, kayaking adventures with family, more horseback riding, zipline gliding, rock face climbing, hammock camping fun than you could ever imagine. And it's all outdoors, amongst the trees and across the prairie, here beneath Nebraska skies. Plan an outing today at yournebraskaadventure.com. Sponsored by Nebraska Game and Parks, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket.
Okay, playing 93.7 The Ticket.
Alexa, turn down the lights.
Dimming the lights.
Alexa, order a pizza. The big one. All the toppings.
Are you sure that's a good idea?
Alexa.
That's a lot of pizza for just one man.
Alexa, just do it. Stop judging me, just do it.
As you wish.
Thanks, Alexa. You're my best friend.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. At 4 a.m, my phone rang. They said, "I regret to inform you that your husband was wounded in action." Victor sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. I was doing school full-time, and I was also then caring for Victor. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself. I just didn't want to forget that I also had goals and that I also had a life. What I did is I challenged Victor to meet me halfway. There are almost 6 million military and veteran caregivers across the nation. We have our own journey, and we can fulfill that journey at the same time that we are helping our loved one.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey and better care for your loved one and yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it twice a day.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it in the morning and before dinner.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it, and share it with my doctor.
Nearly 1 in 2 U.S. adults have high blood pressure. That's why it's important to self-monitor your blood pressure in 4 easy-to-remember steps. It starts with a monitor.
Now that I know my blood pressure numbers, I talked with my doctor. We're getting those numbers down.
Get it, slip it, cuff it, check it. Doctor now and share it.
Be next to talk to your doctor about your blood pressure numbers. Get down with your blood pressure. Self-monitoring is power. Learn more at manageyourbp.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council, the American Heart Association, and the American Medical Association, in partnership with the Office of Minority Health and Health Resources and Services Administration.
Back to school night is an important event. Plan to attend and help your child prepare for success. I'm Jenny Benson, president of the Nebraska State Education Association. Let's get our students off to a great start. Make back to school night a priority. You'll meet your child's education team, learn about volunteer opportunities, and what you can expect in the school year ahead. Help us make a bright new beginning for our students this year.
Sponsored by the Nebraska State Education Association, aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association in this station.
My early Alzheimer's diagnosis was hard to take, but it gave my mom and me more time to plan together.
Talk to your family about seeing a doctor. Go to alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
You're listening to The Breeze with DP and Haas on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back into The Breeze. Again, I am Harrison Arns running the board. We got the host, as always, Haas, streaming in here with us. And again, if you guys want to join the show, Starter Heyman text line 402-464-5685, as well, streaming on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and Allo channel 951. We did get a comment over the break. Let me proofread it here and see if we can answer it. Oh, man. Haas, how are you at fantasy football?
I retired a while ago.
Okay, I'll answer this one real quick. Let's see. He says, I have the 9th and 16th picks, Serpent, normalish scoring, 12 TMS. Should I take a tight end and come back with the running back? No, get your running back. Get your running back in now. Tight ends, if you're already looking at those picks, the 9th and 16th picks, your tight ends, your best one's going to be taken. The only way you take a tight end is if it's Kelsey on the board. If Kelsey's not on the board, move on. That's pretty much it. Otherwise, get a running back. Those are few and in between. If you can get a big one on the board, that can carry you a long ways. Speaking of running backs, that's what we're talking about. Haas, I asked you before the break, and Starter Heyman text line, join in on this one, 402-464-5685. If you think our rankings suck, let us know. If you think they're perfect, again, let us know. But do you want to start at the bottom of the top 5, or do you want to go top to bottom?
Bottom. But the question is this for my NFL team? Is meaning, like, do I have to look at how they're put together? Am I drafting one and building a team around them?
You're not looking at the team around this running back. You're saying if I had to pick up a team from scratch and this is the first running back I get to take, this is the guy. So take his team and his line, his whatever offense he's around, get rid of that, and just purely look at the player. And if I had to take a running back to start my football team, this is the guy I want.
For 1 year or for forever? Meaning, like, I could take an older player?
You know what? You can take an older player. Just 1 year.
Just 1 year.
You just need him for one really strong year. So this is like you're looking in for this season only. So I'll take the number 5 off for you. So at number 5, this is a guy that I think he's just scheduled to kind of take off this year. If you're a Raider, you're probably really hoping for it. Josh Jacobs. I think he's going to have a big year. I think it's going to be up to him a lot to kind of provide that consistency, just to move the chains, to keep that offense alive. It's a guy that not only do I think he has the skill, he's been leaned on, and I think it's going to be an opportunity for him to really just be consistent and have a breakout year. I think he's going to get a lot of touches. Again, we're not looking at the offense, but if you had a Josh Jacobs, you're going to give him a lot of touches anyways, right? So, again, I think he's due for a breakout year. I got him slotted at number 5, though. Not necessarily the top, a little shorter than I want to say what most people have him at, but that's where he's sitting for me.
I have Saquon at 5. From a I don't know who the head coach will be. I don't know what the rest of the team will be, but I like the ability to make moves in a phone booth, and that's what he has. And so he's number 5.
A little disappointed on that one. I'll get to him later, but nonetheless, going on here, moving up to number 4. This is a guy that is just consistent. You kind of talked about it being efficient in the booth. This guy does it very well. He does it a lot, in particular on goal line situations. Eckler from, again, Chargers. You got to have him on there. Or excuse me, I said Chargers. The Rams. He's way too efficient.
You're just thinking of the LAs. So, yeah. So Eckler,
got me mixed
Eckler's
up.
my number 4 also.
Okay, yeah. Led the league, last year in touchdowns.
So there's a lot of that. It's hard because if you're going to come back and say running back, he's not anywhere near the top in rushing yards, but it's just running after catching and making catches. 3 of my guys are better at receiving than running. So he's playing the position of running back, and it's surprising that he's there for me. It means Chubb wasn't, but what he did last year and now he's been a little more consistent with it allows him to be number 4 on my list.
Yeah, I'm right there with you too. And again, he gets the ball in a lot of those situations where they know it's going to be coming right at him, or in a lot of pass situations, doesn't cough it up. You know, he's very good on the turnover ratio too. So it's just a guy that you can trust out there. Rarely turns over. And that, again, that's a theme with most of these top 5 running backs. You're not going to get a top 5 running back if you're coughing the ball over all the time. You know, we're kind of seeing that over here in Husker land. Haas, you wouldn't know, but Anthony Grant, for all our listeners out there, he was our last year first string running back. Fumbling issues come camp. Yep, gets tucked, and now he's our 3rd string behind Ramiro Johnson and Gabe Ervin. So again, those fumbling issues, they'll kill you completely. Eckler does not have that problem. Sits at 4 for number me. Moving on here to number 3. This is when it gets really tough. You're trying to fit a lot of guys in here. We're not going to go there yet. At number 3, I have the horse, Derrick Henry. He's there for a reason. You know the ball's going to Derrick Henry, and you can't do anything about it. He is a guy that, honestly, I feel like he should have been ranked, number 1 a few times here in the past. But he's just a guy that the entire damn defense knows it's going to him. And he still wins games for the Titans. Year after year after year, he puts them into position to win those, within 1-score margins. He keeps them in the field long enough to keep that defense off, and they get a lot of games. So again, Derrick Henry, number 3, only because he's getting older. I think last year, 2 years ago, might even have him at 1 or 2. But again, just try to stop him. Everyone knows it's coming, and year after year, the Titans find a way into the playoffs because no one can stop Derrick Henry.
So Henry is higher on my list. If we're building a team from scratch, if I don't know who's around him. So for me, for the other guys, they're all really good and they're all interchangeable. But one is better at one thing and isn't a bell cow. So I've just his stiff arm is
it's
thing.
unreal.
Like everyone talks about his stiff arm. There's a video of this lady on her phone, and it went viral. I saw it yesterday, and she stiff armed someone that was coming up to attack her friend, and she was knocked 15 rows from the stiff arm, and the reaction was, "That's a Derrick Henry stiff arm." So I think it's because they traded away A.J. Brown and they have Tannehill at quarterback and they didn't. The Titans took a step back last year, so that's why Derrick Henry took a step back. If Derrick Henry was with Patrick Mahomes, if he was on the 49ers, if he was with Derek Carr because of Josh Jacobs, and I know Derek Carr's not there anymore, but that's where he was last year. If he had those types of teams, then he'd probably run for 2,500 yards. If not, then the quarterback's going to throw for 5,000-6,000 yards. So it boils down to the surroundings. So for number 3 for me, I have Jacobs. To me, he's a slightly younger version of Henry, but not as physical, but still consistent, runs well, does the job. Number 3.
Yeah, that's a good one there. Josh Jacobs, I had him at number 5. I could see him signing him up right now. I'm just kind of at a point where I just want to see more to put him above any of those guys. Like you said, he's maybe potential to kind of be one of those guys. But yeah, right now he's just still far below for me, just not ready to kind of surpass what I consider Derrick Henry to be, or what I consider the number 2 to be. And this one, I think we're kind of getting close to splitting hairs here. And this, you know what, we're gonna go ahead and do it. This will make you happy. But Christian McCaffrey, number 2. It's only fair. He's got to be in the top 5. I'm sure you probably got him at number 1 on yours. I wouldn't have to think too hard to guess where he's at. But again, Christian McCaffrey can do a little bit of it all. We've seen it in one game. He's shown us that he can do it all. So again, there's no other reason Christian McCaffrey should be there. As soon as he's healthy, as soon as he was healthy on the 49ers, that team took off. Like, it just shows you right then and there. If he's healthy, you don't really have much of a chance, because he can hurt you in a lot of different ways. You can get creative with the formations. So if you're starting a team and you need a running back, Christian McCaffrey arguably could be the number 1 just because of his ability to do it all. Like, you can really get creative, and I think that's why it works so well with the 49ers offense. Those guys got some great coaching over there. They know how to get their athletes in position. And Christian McCaffrey, what he did for those guys last year is a prime example of that. He catches, he can high point the ball like Justin Jefferson can. He can run it, like Eckler can. He doesn't quite have the physicality that Derrick Henry obviously has, but he can definitely shift around you. So again, that's only fair for me. If you have him anywhere below top 3, I think that's kind of a slight against McCaffrey. I think he's that good.
So let me go back to Jacobs, because he was the leading rusher last year. He actually caught the ball. So if I'm a Raiders fan, I'd be livid with you for where you put him at number 5. His combined yards, 2,000. Still, it might be number 1, number 2. I don't have it memorized, but he's up there with combined yards because he's still caught for 400 yards. His touchdowns, he had over 10. He had 12. He doesn't have a fumbling problem. So some people will say Jacobs is number 1. Some people will say Henry's number 1. Some people will say McCaffrey's number 1. I don't know who you have at number 1, but if it's not one of those 3, I'm very confused.
I'm surprised you haven't. You don't know who I have at number 1. You really don't know. That's surprising. Yeah. No. You don't think Chubb's number 1 running back in the NFL?
No.
Ooh, okay. I'm going to say is get your popcorn. I think Nick Chubb, year after year, I feel like gets disrespected. He is a fantastic running back. Nick Chubb he's been incredible for the Browns. He's been the one thing that's been consistent for him through that sorry franchise, is having Nick Chubb. They go through that ugly little stint where Baker Mayfield doesn't work out to get Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson, not great either, but Nick Chubb still shows up.
Whoa. Deshaun Watson, before last year, before all this drama, was a top 5 quarterback.
Yes, and he was not good for the Browns. Not a top 5 quarterback on the Browns.
Well,
he was
I
and I'm saying Chubb carried that
turns it
team.
around. So Chubb's stats: 12 touchdowns, 1,500 yards receiving, 239 yards receiving. I'm sorry, 1,525 rushing, 239
there we
receiving.
Go. So I was like, whoa.
So 1,700 total yards and 13 touchdowns. Year before, 1,259, 1,067, 1,494, 996. He's not at the table of Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs, and Christian McCaffrey.
I'm thinking he has never posted a rushing grade below 80. He's every single year. I'm just telling you, he's consistent. He's number 1 for me. I'm telling you right now, he's going to have a fantastic year. Nick Chubb, I'm taking him number 1 overall. I want Nick Chubb. I'm not hesitating on that one.
Well, if we're talking about running backs, I'm going to put the respect on the right place. So McCaffrey's number 2 for me.
Okay, McCaffrey 2. So we have that the same. Number 1.
Derrick Henry. Sorry.
Okay.
He's the definition of a running back. I'm going to beat you up. Your whole defense is going to be in the training room after they play me. Like, this dude's a beast. So we have like McCaffrey and Eckler are like LaDainian Tomlinson, and they're really good. And I'm really happy as a 49er fan. And again, McCaffrey, Jacobs, and Henry are all interchangeable for number one. But the way that Henry controlled the game when he didn't have a team, they were the 1 seed when they didn't have his team because of Derrick Henry. He would consistently have 200-yard games. So it's no question Derrick Henry's number one.
I'll say this, though. If you look at Nick Chubb, if you actually average it out and you do yards per carry, Nick Chubb's number one. If you're looking at yards per carry. So I don't know if you value that, but I value that number significantly.
Is it true? Like, did you look at it and see his versus McCaffrey's?
Yeah, I looked it up. Okay. And you can fact check me on that one as we go to break here. But we do have one question. So before we get to fact checking here, have you been able to watch Trey Palmer at all in preseason? I know, obviously, I'm a Cornhusker fan, so I'm going to be watching him. But we do have one on the text line, so I'm curious, have you been able to see Trey Palmer at all?
I mean, it's great to see him taking over that number 3 position with the Bucs always having a plethora of wide receivers to have the youth movement there and allow him and see him hopefully succeed more in the NFL than he did in college. It's great. It just shows you the talent that he had at Nebraska.
Yeah, absolutely. And real quick to give my surmise before we go to break here. Yeah, it is. It's absolutely awesome to see. You know, he kind of talked about it a lot. And the Buccaneers head office talked about it a lot. They thought they got a steal. They looked at him and they're like, his measurables, the speed this guy has, the verticality he has, so he can still high point the ball. And his hands were a little bit of concern. You watched him at Nebraska. He caught it with his chest a lot. You saw a lot of ricochets off his chest onto the ground. That hasn't been a problem so far. He's doing a really good job out there. That was my biggest concern, was his hands, but I haven't seen any of that shown up. He's doing a good job high pointing the ball. So yeah, I do see a big role for Trey Palmer as he continues to get better. The fact that he's making an impact already, pretty incredible. Someone also asked, did you watch Adrian in the Detroit Lions? Yes, I got to see a little bit of that. Adrian Martinez, I'll be honest, I'm not super optimistic on his NFL career, but it's good to see him get a shot. And who knows? We've seen crazier things happen. For him, it's going to be the turnover battle. Does he get rid of that? That's what's going to keep him on the field. If you eliminate those turnovers, that's his best shot. So again, hopeful for Trey Palmer, hopeful for Adrian Martinez. And again, if you guys want to continue to chime in as we're getting a few more text lines, we got to go to break though. 402-464-5685. This is The Breeze. I'm Harrison, that's Haas. We'll catch you guys on the other side.
Finally, a good reason to have a smart house. Just say, Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket, and we'll magically start playing. How's it work? Nobody knows. Don't ask questions.
Have an exclusive collection of liquors, whiskeys, and bourbons at prices you're sure to love. Stop in to the Butchery by Venue today. Located in our Venue at Home storefront at 70th and Pioneers, just 2 doors down from Venue Restaurant and Lounge.
As an 18-year-old, I let my mistakes kind of take over my life. I was 0.5 credits away from completing high school, and I didn't do it.
10 years later, at age 28, Jackie finished her high school diploma.
When I found out that I was pregnant, I know that I had to do something for myself if I wanted to make her a better person and provide a better life for her. My family never stopped pushing for me to be better because they knew what I could become and who I could become as a person. My support team is amazing. The educational director, my sister, and even my 7-year-old daughter has just been more than the support that I could ask for. I've been given an opportunity, and I'm just thankful for it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
1 in 3 adults has prediabetes. 1 in 3. That means it could be you, your football buddy, your football buddy, or you, your best man, your worst man, you, your dog walker, your cat jogger. While 1 in 3 adults has prediabetes, with early diagnosis, prediabetes can be reversed. Take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org. That's doihaveprediabetes.org.
Wait, did they just say 1 in 3 adults has prediabetes? That's 33.33333% of adults. That means it could be me, my boss, or my boss's boss, or me, my favorite sister, or my other sister. That's 7 members of my 21-person romantic book club. Wait, the 1 in 3 could be me, my karaoke partner Carol, or my karaoke enemy Jeff. I'm going to take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Brought to you by the Ad Council and its pre-diabetes awareness partners.
When you're high, you feel different. Think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different, but you probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different, and not in a good way. That's why driving high is illegal everywhere. So if you're high, just don't drive. Make a plan to get a sober ride. Because if you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket.
Okay. Playing 93.7 The Ticket.
Alexa, turn down the lights.
Dimming the lights.
Alexa, order a pizza, the big one, all the toppings.
Are you sure that's a good idea?
Alexa.
That's a lot of pizza for just one man.
Alexa, just do it. Stop judging me, just do it. Thanks, Alexa. You're my best friend.
Serve Nebraska believes that volunteers are part of what makes Nebraska great. Each year, the Step Forward Awards honors volunteers from across the state who serve their communities in outstanding ways. We hope you'll join us this year at the Step Forward Awards luncheon on October 27th in Omaha. Help us thank volunteers with a celebration to remember. To register, visit serve.nebraska.gov and click Register Now. We hope to see you there. Paid for by Serve Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Start your Sundays off right with Jeff and Nicole Essink on Fitness Fanatics. Jeff and Nicole discuss health and wellness, how to achieve fitness goals, and more through the life of gym owners and gym goers. It's Fitness Fanatics from 9 to 11 a.m. on Sundays on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
You're listening to The Breeze with DP and Haas on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back into The Breeze here on Ticket Weekends. Again, I am Harrison running the board. We got Haas, the host of The Breeze, as always. And again, you want to join us on the Starter Heyman text line, 402-464-5685, as well as we're streaming on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and Allo channel 951. We did have a texter ask, again, asking if we saw Adrian Martinez and the Lions, and he asked because they were running to tie downs, 3 wideouts, and 1 fullback. Does that look like what Nebraska is going to run? I would not have the answers. I will tell you this. We'll see a fullback more likely. We'll probably see a couple tight ends down more likely. But, again, what we're going to see, I mean, Minnesota is guessing just as much as we are. We got little bits and pieces. But, again, obviously, we're going to have a fullback. That's going to be a little bit of new mixture in there. Running the ball seems to be important. But in terms of what our offense actually looks like, again, you're kind of grasping at straws there. You're looking at the personnel and what we can do, but what Matt Rule sees in practice and what he thinks our strengths are, that's going to affect that formation. So again, it's kind of cool to see that in the NFL with Adrian Martinez, but what does that look like? Does anything look like anything Nebraska is going to do? I don't have the answers for that, and neither does PJ Fleck. If you do have the answers for it, I'm sure a lot of these Big Ten coaches would want to know. Put it that way. But nonetheless, Haas, we got a few minutes left. Anything you want to get to in the sports world, whether NFL, even wrestling, before we get out of here?
So from a wrestling perspective, it was a sad week. Terry Funk passed away. He was a little bit older, so it's less sad, but Bray Wyatt passed away. And both are sad, both are difficult. It's just when a younger person passes away, it's hard. And or it was very unexpected, and he wasn't on TV for months.
Yeah, he took a break.
He was supposed to have a big match at WrestleMania, but there's no clues to why he wasn't there. And then there's some whispers that he had like a massive injury or massive illness, and so it's really sad. And if it was a massive illness dating back to January, February, and passing away now, that's truly sad. I hope, I don't know how his brother will respond to this, but if his brother was Uncle Howdy. I don't know if how long the grief will take, the recovery will take, but the way that Briscoe, when he passed away, and his brother had a match in his honor. Each person has their own way of handling grief and all that, but if it would be pretty cool to see Uncle Howdy, Bo Dallas, his brother, get to do something to tribute him. So
yeah.
But that's the biggest thing in the wrestling world. All in for AEW fans being right now and seeing Mercedes Moné there. That would be pretty cool if she's regularly on TV. Sasha Banks, Mercedes Moné. She can completely change a women's division, whether it's the WWE, AEW, or Japan. So DP and I have always been really high on her, and I think she was part of the revolution no, I don't think she was part of the revolution. She was just second fiddle to Charlotte often, but the way she spoke, the way she was a heel, she's a game changer for any division.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, real quick on Wyatt, you're talking about obviously super sad, but obviously with the news coming out, there's a bunch of social media along with it, kind of remembering his best moments. And it was really cool. There was one clip that was surging yesterday, and especially if you're part of that WWE, fandom, that community, he had a point where he's kind of talking about his leave of absence, and he came back. And he was basically talking about, I took for granted, how much I meant to you guys, the fans and the fandom, and how much they really enjoyed seeing him back out there. And you kind of get that cool experience, right? When you feel like that connection between the superstars and the fans is there. It feels genuine. It feels like you have that real connection. And that's what the greats always do, right? And again, so it's super sad news. I'm curious to see what comes out of it. Obviously you said yourself, people deal with grief in different ways, so we don't really know what's going to look like, nor would it even be smart to try to guess what it could be. We just don't know. It could go in a ton of different ways. But again, sad news, but it was kind of cool to see the way everyone remembered him in a positive light. And again, I love seeing whenever time you get that, superstar to the fan, genuine connection. You saw it with Kobe when he did Mamba Out. Just one of the most incredible moments ever. And again, you feel that genuine passion, and you see someone that had passion for that sport, that brought that passion night in, night out, and the fandom that comes with it. So again, obviously sad there, but I love seeing that kind of reach out from those communities to show all the great highlights, the meaningful moments they may have had on just your everyday fan. But, again, I just wanted to shout that out because you want to shout out those people that have made significant impacts to all the sports fans out there. We say it all the time. We have shows named after it, bigger than the score. It really means it, right? It's just a game at the end of the day, but those relationships you can build out of it, you can't do anything more with that.
No, I'm glad you turned to that and brought that up, because for the fans to outpour how much they care, Wembley Stadium, or there's a soccer match in the Premier League that played his entrance music.
I saw that. That was incredible.
And then Fozzy, Chris Jericho, the fans singing, "We got the whole world in our hands," which is what they would do. And so the impact that he had, because he would go and do characters that just weren't the stereotypical, I'm a 6'6", steroided wrestler, and I'm just gonna speak the same promo as everyone else. He was different, and he enjoyed being different. And when the lights would go out and all the phones would be a firefly, there was lots of moments in WWE that he had that just changed the game, and so. He will be greatly missed, and it was nice to see Braun Strowman. I think Braun Strowman's hurt, but nice to see him there, and then nice to see Eric Rowan, who's not even part of WWE, there. So, and there's one Wyatt family member. He went by Brody Lee in AEW, who also passed away. So there's tributes to both of them in that, and so it's hard. It's sad. We're gonna miss him.
Absolutely. And with that being said, I think it's a good point to leave off there. We kind of talked about his great moments of his career, and the effect that it obviously he had. But again, this has been The Breeze. We got some NFL talk in there, some wrestling at the end. Go to theticketfm.com to catch the podcast in case you missed it or any of the podcast. This has been The Breeze. I'm Harrison. That's Haas. We'll catch you guys next week.
Are you working in